Welcome back to the channel, folks, and to another battle report. This is going to be another remote game, so I'll be in the room doing all the movements and so on and so on, and my opponent will be very far away, as it is in this case. So there's not going to be the overhead camera or dice rolling or anything, folks. It's not something we can do in this format, but she's still get you an enjoyable game. I'll be doing the turn-by-turn summaries. So today I'm playing one of the channel viewers, Charlie, who got in touch. I don't think he gets to play as often as he would like, so he quite fancied having a game. So I thought, why not, let's give it a go. We're playing mid-war. I'm taking Soviets and Charlie is taking Germans. And as it's his first remote game, he's going to be defending so that he doesn't have to learn the hard way about movement when you're not in the room. It's not always as easy to follow what you're doing and the relative threat distances and so on if you're on the move, but it is when you're defending. Anyway, let's go over to have an introduction, have a word with Charlie, and then move on to the lists, and from there the mission.
Hey, Charlie, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Looking forward to the game.
And we're playing mid-war today, which is good in terms of all the releases are out there with the new boots as well, and give us a chance to play mid-war again. You don't get a chance to play much mid-war, do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't. This is first time in a long time.
Good stuff. So you're bringing Grenadiers today. So what is your list all about? What have you got in it and why?
I've got two platoons of Grenadiers with a HQ. I've got some mortar section with them and 5 centimeter tank hunter platoon. In support for artillery, I've got Nebelwerfers, 8.8 centimeter anti-tank guns, and a platoon of up armored Panzer IIIs. The reason I put this together, I'm guessing this is late 41, or the Russians are mounting an offensive and the Germans are trying to hold on to the ground they've got. So I'm looking to, just hold my ground and hopefully give the Russians a bloody nose.
So you've got some good anti-tank assets, and
Yeah.
your tanks are quite tough.
Yes, they are. I decided, to probably be better. I was tempted to go with the cheaper option, but the up armored, but I thought, no, I didn't know whether you're going to bring T-34s or something, so I thought, let me get a little bit of armor protection. I know the anti-tank 9's not the best in the world, but they still a little tough little platoon.
Yeah, but you've got some more anti-tank to back them up as well, so a good combination. And well, I'm going to bring my infantry is going to be the hero motor rifles, and the reason I bring them is because I don't enjoy playing the big massive blobs of infantry. They look good, but they just get slaughtered. So I take smaller blobs so I can try to get slaughtered in more places on the table at the same time.
Okay.
And there's a chance that one of those blobs is going to, small blobs will get through, and they're quite decent if they do get close enough.
Yeah.
They're quite good. So, and you back them up with loads and loads of mortars.
Yeah, I know.
76 mils and a big blob of Lees. I just like my Lees. Once again, it's almost like a comedy tank. I think of Wacky Races. I don't know if everyone is old enough to remember Wacky Races, the cartoon.
Yes, I do. I'm older than I look, Frank. I'm 6.
I think when I see it. So I put in a big massive lump of 10, which isn't usual for me, but I thought, what the hell, I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. We're going to have a nice mid-war mash-up. Women's will be defending, because this is a remote game, so Charlie will need to get used to finding his way around the table from so far away.
Here we have Charlie's Grenadier force that he's going to be using today. So it's based around the Grenadier formation with some support. The core formation is the HQ, and then 2 platoons of 5 Grenadiers with anti-tank rifle bases. They look suspiciously like they should be in the desert, those anti-tank rifle bases, but got to go with what we've got here, folks, getting these guys on the table. And part of the formation also includes 4 medium mortars and 4 Pak 38s. So that's anti-tank 9, 28-inch range, good against mediums, but we struggle against something heavier. But in that respect, Charlie has brought 2 88s, and they're in support as well. Then you've got battery of 3 Nebs, classic combination there with the Panzer II Observer, and that altogether with a lucky card comes to 60 points, which leaves 40 points, and Charlie's put it all into one big platoon, so if it's in reserves it's going to arrive all at the same time, no messing about, no lots and lots of dice rolling, and it's going to be 5 up armoured Panzer IIIs with the long barrel 50s. So these guys are front armour 6, which is quite good in mid-war for the German medium tanks. You know, it's better than 5 when you're up against anti-tank 9, especially at long range. And up against what I'll be bringing in this game, their range on their weapon is quite good too. They outrange the Soviet tanks, so they should have the edge. They're careful, they should be hard to hit. So it's a decent sized formation. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units in the core formation itself, so it's not going to break easy. It's got good artillery options, strong anti-tank, and a good solid firefighting force of armour to back them all up. So let's see how it plays, folks. Here is today's Soviet list, folks. So this is a hero rifle battalion, different from the ordinary rifle battalion. Most importantly, different in size. The platoons are smaller, and that's why I've chosen it, because I don't like to have all my infantry in one big lump, or in this case 2 big lumps. I prefer smaller lumps with perhaps more points to spare to spend on other support. Now, another important difference between the heroes and the ordinary ones is motivation. These guys are not as well motivated, the hero guys. They are, without the commissar, they are reluctant, which isn't quite so good. But they do have a 3+ save instead of a 4+ save, which kind of evens things out in the long run. You know yourself how hard it is to get a 4+ compared to a 3+, and when you're taking a lot of hits, because these guys are aggressive, you can be losing a lot of infantry very quickly on a 4+ save. Anyway, the formation is made up as follows. They've got a HQ in the middle, and then centre platoon and the platoon to the right are both hero rifle platoons, 10 bases with commissar, and then on the left hand side is a storm group. But these guys are very different. These guys are careful, confident, trained. Careful, fearless trained, and they're hitting a 2+ in assault, which is kind of critical. Now the other units in this, the infantry units, are just rifles. These guys, though, they've got 7 SMG teams, 2 Maxims, a PTRD, and a 50mm mortar team. Now, I've never actually used a 50mm mortar team. That's supposed to be my 50mm mortar team there, folks. So apologies if it looks a little bit blank. And beside it is the PTRD team, but you'll probably find that they get killed. Them and the heavy machine guns will get killed right away. That's sod's law. It just seems to happen like that. But still within the formation, we've also got a platoon of 4 76mm anti-tank guns, then 6 medium mortars and 6 heavy mortars. So there's no dedicated artillery units as in 122mm or such like, but when I was looking at the list, I'm looking at the cost, and you could get 6 5-3 heavy mortars for 6 points, or 4 5-3 122mm for 8 points. You know, so the larger unit with the rerolls looks more attractive. It's not as good against tanks in bombardment, or especially obviously direct fire, as 122s, but I thought I'm going to get them for a change. So 2 units of 6 mortars could be quite accurate if they range in, because their skill is 5. So ranging in over terrain is going to need a 6. We'll see how that goes. And then backing them up, I've got first of all the clown cars, those little, still looking weird in their white, but those little BA-10 armour cars. But you know, they're slow, they really are slow guys. They've basically got walking speed across country. But they've got anti-tank 7 on the main gun, could be useful on the flanks. And then, most importantly, my Lees. I decided I'm leaving no Lees in the box in this game. I'm going to use them again. I don't know when I'll be using them after this, because we'll be moving on to more late war. But these guys are on the table. A platoon of 10, 44 points, and a platoon of 10. We'll see how they do, guys. They are reckless, so they're hitting a 2, front armour 5, anti-tank 9 on the main gun, anti-tank 7 on the wee turret. So I don't know how they're going to go, but I'm just determined to use them and hoping that they will do as best as they can. So it's a big chunky force with a sizable formation that is going to be easy to hit, probably easy to kill, but hard to break. So there you go. That is the Soviet Hero Rifles. When I'm playing remote players, I always give them the choice in the first game of defending and choosing what mission they want to play. So Charlie is going to defend, and he wants to do fighting withdrawal because it's something new to him. But it's going to get all this stuff on the table at least at the start to maybe feel a bit more confident. So fighting withdrawal, you can see, it's got a fairly simple, straightforward set of deployment zones. The attacker's quite far back, but they've got quite a lot of time to get up to the objective area. Now the special rules are ambush minefields, which is nice and straightforward, then fighting withdrawal for the defender. Now you're probably better to read this in detail yourself, folks, to be 100% clear, but basically from turn 6, if there are 6 platoons or 6 platoons and delay counters, read the rules for that, folks, the defender is going to have to take off a platoon. So that means they start with everything on the table, but they're going to start losing things from as early as turn 2. So it suits some nations, some lists better than it would others. And then in terms of victory conditions, the defender's got to get all the way to turn 8. So that's basically, in real terms, 8 turns for the attacker to try and take an objective, which is good for the attacker, maybe a little bit tough for the defender as well. So it's a game where you have to really carefully manage your defensive forces, because you're not going to be able to rely on everything that is currently in place and on the table for the whole duration of the game. So it's a very interesting mission for both players, and maybe a bit of a challenge for the defender. Let us know what you think, folks, if you think it's a mission you're confident of playing in defence. But there you go, folks. Fighting withdrawal. Right, folks, we have deployed, and the mission is fighting withdrawal. So you can see Charlie's chosen this side to defend. He likes all this cover here in the woods, some houses, and I've placed an objective here and here, as far apart basically as I could get them. So Charlie's deployed an infantry platoon here, one in the building there, but the guys are all around here. 88s. They've got a line of sight through here, and to a lesser degree through there, but a good line of sight over that side. If anything comes past here, then they've got a very good line of sight. Then he's got his observer plus mortars. So the mortars have got a 40-inch range, so they've got a good central position to fire out to either flank. The observer can see pretty much to either flank. You can see through here, but it's a little bit restricted by this tall terrain. The tank's sitting in the middle, where they are able to react and head off to either flank, depending on where my attack's coming from. Then infantry platoon in the woods, and Neb's behind. Oh, by the way, that's my pre-ranged in, here and here, and Charlie has deployed so that he's not under them, and then Charlie's is here, but I'll be moving, and here. Now Charlie has got 4 Pack 38s in ambush, so we're ready to start. So we'll tidy up all of these markers and come back at the end of Soviet turn 1. Soviet turn 1. So in terms of movement, it was pretty much a lot of dashing. These guys here are keeping themselves as much as possible out of line of sight at the moment. these guys dashed. Guns dashed. 24-inch range doesn't even reach the Germans at this point in the game. They just, because they're going into the woods, just moved up at normal kind of speed, and these guys dash. You'll notice that the infantry are keeping up, that's the storm group, are keeping up with the armoured cars in the dash, because the armoured cars are really slow. And then in terms of shooting, it was really just artillery. The 120s and the 80s both managed to range Indian 6s on the second attempt on the 88s, and the 80s didn't kill anybody, but the 120s with a bit of firepower managed to get 188 and one base of infantry. So it's first blood to the Soviets, but Charlie's got an ambush, loads of tanks, and probably more important at this point in the game, some nasty artillery. So German turn 1, in terms of motivations, the 88 didn't rally, but it stayed. The infantry didn't rally either. In terms of ambushes, Charlie's going to keep that back until there's a solid target to shoot at, and the armour is going to bide its time as well. In terms of movement, that's it, no movement, so just shooting. So the Nebs going for the storm group didn't range in. He rolled a 1, a 1 and a 3, and they needed a 4. But the mortars more than made up for it. Absolutely smashed them to bits. They hit 3 armoured cars, 2 of them rolled a 1 and ended up bailed out. They hit 2 heavy machine guns and they both rolled a 1 and a 2, so that's 2 dead heavy machine guns, which are very important in that little formation. And then they also killed the unit command, so that's jumped over. So they've taken an absolute pasting. And it would have been a lot worse if the Nebs had ranged in. But that's what happens, guys. When you've infantry moving, especially in version 4, they do get a bit of a pasting. However, I'm moving across the whole front. So, pretty even as far as first blood goes for that turn, folks. We'll go over to Soviet turn 2. Remember, turn 2 is where we start the withdrawal process for the Germans in their turn. Soviet turn 2. So in terms of motivation, everything was okay over there apart from one armoured car that didn't get back in. In terms of movement, these guys are staying put. I wanted to see if I could get rid of an 88 this turn. These guys moving up to the wood with a failed follow me. The other hero rifle platoon are just moving up. Everything with no follow me's attempted. Tried to follow me with a storm group as well, but in Fearless they rolled a 1. So they're kind of strung out now, but they're moving up, and the armoured cars are moving up, dashing at 10 inches a turn. So they're just keeping on, moving up that side, moving up through there, moving up through here. And these guys will consider their next move shortly. In terms of shooting, that just left the artillery, so the mortars managed to kill the last 88, didn't get the infantry. So I lifted the bombardment for the 120mm mortars. They tried to range in over here, lots of juicy targets, but we got what we expect from the Soviets, to be honest. When they're green, needed a 6 to range in, didn't range in. So I've got rid of an 88, but my guys are still pretty much got their necks hanging out here. But this turn, there will have to be a platoon withdrawn. So, we'll check actually, we'll see the number of platoons I've got because I've lost one. So we'll have a look, start off German turn 2 to see if there is actually a withdrawal needed. German turn 2, so in terms of motivations, the guys, they rallied. In terms of withdrawn platoons, it was a tricky one. All these guys are high value assets. We talked about like the company commander, for instance, being a potential withdrawal. I've seen that done before, but he's taking away the mortars at the moment and probably won't be withdrawing. Oh no, he is going to withdraw something next turn. It'll probably be the company commander then. Maybe it would have been better with the company commander this turn, but if that was the way it's inevitably going to go. So in terms of movement, there was some movement that these have moved up now. The ambush hasn't been popped yet because these guys are still pretty well, as a unit, out of line of sight of anything, any potential ambush positions. So they moved up to get line of sight. 4 of them line of sight down here. 1 of them against the guns. Everyone else stayed put. They got 1 hit, but I rolled 6 for a save. there was only 4 dice because they moved. He got 1 hit and a kill, which isn't bad, considering they've got a 3-up save, but failed to save past its firepower. And then shooting, these guys opened up. Most of them shot against them because they're aggressive. One had to shoot over there because it couldn't see anybody else and didn't get any hits. So they've at least been able to progress up. But these guys are now coming out. They can be shooting here. They can be machine gunning my infantry in the middle. Oh, most importantly, sorry folks, the Nebs ranged in here. And the only bases they killed was the Commissar and the platoon command. So platoon command's not a problem, it's just taking over another base, but the Commissar gone means they're reluctant. So they might not even rally, and even if they do, it's going to be hard to keep them in an assault. So, not too bad a turn for the Germans. Soviet turn 3. So in terms of motivation, very importantly, these guys failed to rally. The wee armoured car over here didn't get back in either. In terms of movement, his compatriots dashed 10 inches around the side here, wanting to get out of line of sight of that anti-tank rifle in there. These guys decided it was time to stick their noses out and maybe have a go at some Panzer IIIs. They know the ambush is coming in to deal with them as well, but what can they do? In terms of movement, over here, these guys also pulled back out of the template. I left 2 in though, because this is a potential ambush position, but not with them in there. There are lots of other ambush positions, but that's behind me. And then, what are these guys going to do? They just had to keep running up, and then the storm group kept edging up. Now these guys, by the way, are looking to get around the back, to have a go at those Nebs. In terms of shooting though, so, we forgot the 60mm mortars, we'll come back to that. The 120mm mortars ranged in first time. They had to be quite far back because of danger close, but they killed one of the company HQ and one of the bases of infantry. There was a few other shots around here, 4 hits, but not enough to pin, and also, well, they're pinned by the artillery now, but try to kill that anti-tank rifle, keep those armoured cars safe, but didn't get them. That was firing from these rifles and from the stationary mortars and anti-tank rifles from the storm group. And then over here it was a bit mental. These managed to get killing a bale from 6 shots, which is very good going. They had to roll 1s basically for me to get a kill, so 2 bales, 2 1s rolled. Then over here, these got in the act. The ones on the hill, these ones who didn't move, and him who moved up, the platoon command fired and got another bloody kill, needing 1s on the save to kill as well. So 2 dead, 1 bailed. Not what I was expecting at all there, folks. So we're closing in that objective over there. My plans are completely scuppered over here because of the Commissar dying here. They might have not rallied anyway, but the Commissar not there makes it more difficult because I did have a plan to attack through there as well. But I reckon there will be an ambush coming next turn, so we'll be a few less leads on the table by the end of it. Germany turn 3. So in terms of motivation, everything was fine. Everybody unpinned, remounted, etc. In terms of ambushes, quite a useful position for this turn, shooting down the flank there. Basically against them in the open at long range though. From where they were, by the way, it was making a lot of the terrain ineligible for short range ambushes. They would have to get pushed back because the low terrain doesn't provide concealment to guys on higher terrain. But that flank position is very useful. It can shoot down here as well as behind the hill, which means I can't hide behind the hill here anymore. In terms of withdrawals, it was the company command. Charlie decided it's 1 base left, pull him out, he's still got a lucky card, that might well do what he needs for 1 crucial reroll. In terms of shooting, so the Nebs ranged in, but to be really quite far back because of danger close when I'm using the salvo template. They got a hit and a kill, so that pins them. Then these guys here tried a few shots over here to try and get the mortar and the anti-tank rifle, the 50mm mortar. They managed to get hits on both of them, but mistaken target and saving throws went well. And then over here they fired and got another base of infantry. And then, dear, you can ambush and plan to do your best and get everything in position, but if the dice are not with you, folks are not with you. These managed to get, looking for 3s, they managed only 4 hits out of 8. 2 on the side and 2 in the front. And because of matched saves or failed firepowers, it's just 2 bailed out tanks at the end of it. And then these guys, Panzer III shooting, looking for 4s, managed to get 3 hits. A mistaken targeted, so they both took a hit, and he was also hit. Passed to save, failed to save, failed firepower, and then a passed remount test. So there's none dead. They're not all alive, but there's none dead, which is a bit of a miracle, to be honest. So, you're going to turn 4 next, folks. I don't, I've got a time limit on actually taking one of these objectives, so I might not be getting killed in vast numbers yet, but I still have to take an objective. That's the key. So we'll see what I can start to do, especially in terms of motivation, next turn. Soviet turn 4. So in terms of motivation, the armoured car got back in after he realised the ambush is on the other side of the table. He's up for it. Infantry over here rallied. These guys didn't know. The 2 bailed out. Lee's got back in. So in terms of movement, these guys just shimmied, not moving towards the enemy, but close enough to get some of them in line of sight to get some shots down there. The Lees, as you can see, did a bit of moving, so they could try and bring the pain to the Panzer IIIs again. And then over here there was quite a bit of movement, lots of stuff moving, big arc of storm troops around the wood, plus these guys moving up. Oh, and the armoured cars moved up, and starting with them, they fired at the Nebs and missed. Then there was a lot of shooting into here, resulting in 2 dead bases. Lots of rifle fire, submachine gun fire, mortar fire, so 2 bases dead. Then out of all this shooting from these guys here and them, this turn was much more realistic. Only 1 bailed out, Panzer III. Most of them were hit at long range. So they've weathered that storm quite well. Now, as far as assaulting goes, we've actually got one more assault to do, sorry. As far as assaulting goes, the storm guys ran in, right? They were able to contact an ebb plus 2 bases of infantry. And on the way in, they took 2 hits from defensive fire out of 3 dice, and 2 guys died. Then they went in, clobbered a couple of guys. The Germans, motivated to counter-attack, successfully ran in, killed the base, and then the fearless guys ran away. So they're now spread out, the survivors are spread out everywhere. So they're going to be on a motivation check, I think. Yep, going to be on a motivation check. If they'd have stayed in, I could have got into that objective, probably killed the Nebs. As it was, it didn't go well, folks. They guys were not able to launch an assault here because Charlie consolidated back into the wood with his last survivor. But we're going to do one more crazy assault here, folks. So we'll just quickly do that, and I will then summarise. A little assault here, folks. 2 guys were close enough to launch an assault. One against the live tank, one against the build one. One died on the way in, and then there was a bit of to and fro for a couple of turns, with the German tank staying in the fight first turn, surviving hits but not hitting back, but then breaking off, which meant that bailed one was captured, and the platoon could do a consolidation. He stayed put, but the guys have edged around because they don't like those tanks there, and they're getting closer to that objective. So there you go, folks. Turn 4 for the Soviets. A lot of pressure here, so Charlie's got choices he has to make now, which might take some pressure off my Lees, but these guys will still have some range and line of sight on these guys, I reckon. So over to Charlie for his turn 4.
As you say, when you need it, it never works.
That's the thing with Germans, any of these things. Right guys, German turn 4 summary. So in terms of motivation, the sole survivor there unpinned and stayed past his last stand. The Nebs didn't unpin. So Charlie tried to do a blitz to get his guys as close as possible to this objective, the Panzer IIIs that is, but he only managed a 1. So they moved over to machine gun, keeping a mix of front and side armour, if you can see that hopefully, to these guys. And then in terms of shooting, they managed to kill a couple of those bases, but more importantly managed to get a pin. He tried to dig in, by the way, and failed. They were pinned, so couldn't fire. So that left these guys with range on two Lees, and 8 of them shooting, needing 4s. They only managed to get a kill and a bail. But then this wee guy's been waiting for his moment all game, fired down here, got a double bail on that one. It failed his motivation, so it was killed. That wee anti-tank rifles killed that Lee. But these guys, it's ridiculous. There's only 2 of them dead. They're hit on 2s and they've been shot at constantly by Panzer IIIs and Pak 38s on their flank. It's a bit nuts. Anyway folks, it's looking critical down here. It depends on motivations for myself. That's the key thing. I've got 2 really big motivations to do. I've got a last stand and I've got a rally. Soviet turn 5. So in terms of motivation, everything went swimmingly that turn for once. The infantry, the hero rifles unpinned, the storm group likewise and passed the last stand. These guys are even unpinned, they rallied. So in terms of movement, they moved up into the wood. The Lees did a lot of jockeying. Most of them had to move to get the most number of shots down range. And then the infantry, the storm group closed in, the infantry were in pretty good position, and the HQ moved into the wood as well. I basically was wanting to try and cover all possibilities for potential infantry breaking off, but me being able to then launch another assault into that one single guy. So as far as the shooting goes, guys, these 2 tanks ended up dead from a combination of the Lees and the anti-tank gun. So one was bailed, so it would have been, one was dead, one bailed. He would have got it, or the HQ would have got it, whatever happened. But then the most important thing is these guys just mauled the last surviving infantryman, ran in, got 1 hit in defensive fire, then they clobbered him several times, and that's it, guys. That wins the game because there's no teams within 4 inches of that objective, and I started within 4. So game over. We're going to head over to a recap. Before I have a little face-to-face with Charlie and the recap there, I'll do a quick recap myself. So for me, my plan was to go through the wood on my left and around the flank on my far right with a platoon to support that flank attack on the right. And my tanks had a lovely bit of dead ground to hide in. There was a hill, the wood and the church. So I was going to stay there until I felt it was time to move. Probably after I killed the 88s, but at least until then. And they could either head out towards the middle of the table, or they could come back around and through the wood on the left after my infantry secured that path. But you know, as it was, they lost a commissar in the first bit of shooting, so ended up stayed pinned until at the end of the game effectively. But I suppose the critical factor in that game was the dice rolling. Now, Charlie did say that he rolls a lot of 1s, and I think he has proven that to a degree in this game. He said in one game against a friend, he moved 4 Panthers through a wood. Every one of them rolled a 1. His friend said, no, just do it again. And he rolled 4 1s again. So I think, you know, some people are just blessed in that way. And Charlie was a bit there. His tanks, with at long range against anti-tank 9, probably should have survived better. But at the end of the day as well, when you've got a lot of medium armour tanks taking a lot of shots, you are going to take casualties. Also though, my Lees were just ridiculous again. You know, by the end of the game, they should have been smashed to bits. I got a platoon of 10, so I could maybe have 2 or 3 running around at the end of the game, but in the end only lost 2. One of them to an anti-tank rifle at long range. But there you go. So I'm happy with the Lees, and otherwise the game went more or less as you may have expected, I think. But the luck around those firefighting Panzer IIIs had a big part to play. But let's go over and have a word with Charlie.
Well, there you go, folks. It was a victory for the Soviets. And more importantly for me, another victory for the Lees. They seem to be able to do no wrong, which is probably wrong because they're Lees and they're hitting a 2 plus. Anyway, how did you find the game and the remote playing experience?
I enjoyed it very much, Frank. It was a pleasure playing the game. It was a hard-fought game. Could have gone either way, I think, at one point, but I enjoyed it, and I'd like to do it again. I'll do it again anytime.
Well, you were really good. Some people get a bit lost in the remote play, and they end up focusing so much on the minutiae of things, but hopefully you followed it all okay,
yeah,
and were able to make the right kind of decisions during the game.
Yes, it was great. I followed it. It was easy to follow. I had no problems following it. Maybe I could have placed some units a bit better, but I think all in all, I just played for the game and enjoyed the banter during the game.
I think in that game, that was, strategic withdrawal was quite tough. And in particular, in this game where I expected your tanks to really dominate mine and then run away and shoot on my infantry.
Yeah.
And when my Lees, I was careful to begin with, but then when I stuck the next to it, they had no luck at all. And then you started rolling 1s and 2s for your saves at long range against anti-tank 9. I think that was critical to how the game actually go out. Regardless of your deployment, when you're rolling like that, it's quite hard to get a decent result.
I warned you about my rolling.
That turned out quite accurate. I had a period where my rolling was absolutely awful as well, but that was just my one turn maybe.
Yeah.
So my Lees definitely rode the luck of that.
Yeah, they did, and I think they're probably your most dominant unit, really. I mean, because I couldn't deploy my ambush until I knew where the Lees were going.
Yeah. I think I would have had a lot more problems against your list if you'd have been in a narrower defensive.
Yeah.
Because you'd have been a bit more compact. But having said that, with dice rolls like you were getting with some turns,
yeah,
it wouldn't have made a difference.
I don't think it would have. No.
It's like that. Sometimes
it's just one of those things. It's just, sometimes the dice gods love you, and sometimes the dice gods hate you. This was one of those days.
Anyway, hopefully all the viewers enjoyed the game as well.
Yes, I hope they did.
It's really bloody. I'm looking at the casualties here, folks. There's a lot of infantry bases, by the by, quite a few units on last stands, and so on. But if you've got any thoughts yourself on the games, folks, stick them down in the comments as always. We do read them and give feedback for our own thoughts. But Charlie, thanks for getting in touch and for playing.
Well, you're welcome, Frank.
You did the remote thing very well, I'm sure. Everyone else will agree. And that game, that's 3 hours start to finish on a remote game. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad.
But also, thanks to all the guys who watched it. Thanks to all the subscribers out there, as always, folks. And if you'd like to subscribe, just hit the button and it'll help us bring this kind of content to other folk who enjoy the game. And as always, if you hit the bell button, we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, folks. Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.